That were real. So, what we were saying before we turned everything on. Nostradamus. You don't believe in him.
Not at all.
The opium wizard.
Has he said anything that was true? I mean, I don't really know.
Well, you watch TV shows, they kind of bend it to fit. You know, he predicted 9/11, predicts this, predicts that. I just don't know.
Did he, or did they just kind of twist the facts?
I don't
like statistics.
Right. They
Yeah.
just kind of nudge it. You know, it's kind of fits, but it don't really fit. So you just kind of push it a little.
Yeah.
So it's sticking out a little. It's not as flush.
It fit it into that box.
Right.
Right.
But you don't believe on them. Like
No.
every year, though, they do that. They go like, "Oh, this guy
Yeah.
predicted,
and then
end of the world and all that other."
wasn't that
shit.
supposed to happen?
Oh, those are the Mayans.
2012.
Yeah.
All right. So the Mayans suck,
2020,
but Nostradamus is the man.
Obviously,
Is he French? Nostradamus.
feels French. Amadeus, Nostradamus, they're all
Amadeus Nostradamus.
same block, probably same people.
Right.
You figure all that shit is happening in the
French,
same,
Austrian, whatever.
right?
It's
You know,
all-
whatever's going on, it's all happening in the same 3 blocks. It's not like it's happening out somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, going from France to Germany is basically like going from Jersey to Maryland.
Right.
It's right there.
So there's no mysteries. But I don't know. I mean, every year they come up with like, he predicted this. Can't you see it? But I don't know. I think he was just a drug addict that's probably just taking a lot of guesses. You take a lot of guesses and you're bound to get something close to right?
Yeah. I mean,
I'll live my whole life that way.
unless you're a complete raving maniac, sure.
Right, where but why did they not discredit him? Or back then, maybe they did. I don't know. We weren't alive.
I don't know. We never have the history of anything we talk about.
Right.
Which is like, fucking Nostradamus. I don't know shit about the guy.
All right.
But let's chat.
I don't know anything about him. You can look him up, but I don't know anything about him other than that
All right.
special that was on HBO with
Now I
because
have
what's
to-
his name was speaking about it. That's a M. Nostradamus. Is that like a? There he is. They had this special when we were kids on HBO. Marlon Brando was the narrator, so you were frightened already because of that voice.
Right.
He was already frightening.
Dude, Wikipedia is not for sale. Just saying.
That's right. And this is factual. I mean, we're getting this in from, and he even looks like Marlon Brando in that picture.
Yeah. I like the pointy beard.
I mean, yeah, seems trustworthy.
French.
And Jewish, but converted. Probably for the jokes. Thank you, Jerry Seinfeld. But whereas he's French, right? But his prophecies, when did he just, he just started guessing? And people are like, I buy it. Oh, well, I guess because religion held such a, right? Religion held such a high ground than it does now.
Yeah. I think, well, it's kind of like when we were talking about the Hieronymus Bosch paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy, but it was paid for by the church. So if you did anything outside of what the church wanted, you were toast.
Right. I remember when my mom was around and she went to Italy and she did a tour.
This is like a lot of reading.
Yeah. I mean, have somebody else read it.
Yeah.
I mean, but he just would predict stuff. Marlon Brando would interpret it. You'd be scared because you were 11.
Right.
But now you're an adult. Do people still believe in it? I don't know. But what I was going to say, when my mom was in Italy, she went on a religious tour for St. Lawrence. That was a church she grew up in, right?
Okay.
And every stop was like, this is where they imprisoned him for 2 years.
A heretic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where we imprisoned him for another 4 years. Like there wasn't like, well, here's where he got to preach comfortably.
And this is this guy, Larry?
Yeah. St. Larry.
St. Larry?
St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, religion doesn't hurt as much as I guess as it does now. As it did then. Well, it hurt kids when they were younger.
Depends what country you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not here.
Not here.
Here's good.
Yeah, they don't. Everything is
everything's loosey goosey here.
Yeah, they're all. I feel like they're all probably down, right?
Membership?
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like after
From, say, 100 years ago and even before that?
from our generation, from our age group down.
Probably, yeah.
I bet you people who have kids now don't force their kids to church or all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, my mom forced us to go to church until confirmation. And then she was like, all right, make your own decision.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it was the same.
Yeah, I think we all were. We were, you know.
I went to Catholic school for kindergarten only.
I was up to 3rd grade. That's fun.
That's why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
You're one of those Catholic school girls.
Because Catholic girls rule. But, like, that was a weird experience in itself because growing up in, you getting dropped off in your tuxedo fucking school. I don't know. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But then they're putting you in a school.
You had to do the whole uniform.
Oh, yeah.
So was it a tux or was it like the school uniform?
I think it's a uniform. But
all right.
I feel like
it's black and white?
Yeah. I mean, well, green probably. But they're dressing you up.
Green.
It's 2nd grade. You're being
like
dressed up.
Pool table green?
Yeah, probably. Dark. But, I mean, probably that's probably why I wear black all the time.
You look like a fucking shamrock.
No, but I know, but why? What's that going to do for you? Dressing all these kids up like Dean Martin to go to school at 8 a.m. But the worst part about that
is got to sing to Larry.
Well, we weren't doing Larry. I think it was St. Mary then.
Oh.
But they drop you off in a school that is filled with kindergarten through 12th grade. That's a weird experience. As a kid, I would,
yeah,
especially as an only child, you're 2nd grade and showing up at school and there's a gigantic adult next to you.
Right.
It's a weird thing, but I guess what are you going to do? There's not that many people in school like a district of school.
Now, was it separated? Like, older kids were in a different wing of the building? Or
probably, but you all kind of met in certain spots. Like there's only one gym. There's only one lunchroom. Only one whatever. But it was totally...
Did you get your ass beat?
Not by kids, by nuns.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
The kids didn't need to...
They don't, the justice was...
Did they rally together? Did they want to overthrow the nuns?
Never. They all took it. We all took it.
Good Catholic boys.
That's right. Knuckles be damned.
Yeah.
Surprised
the ruler?
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Like those pretend stories are true.
Did she do the flat part of the ruler or the edge?
No, the flat. But they were long. It wasn't like a 12-inch ruler.
No, I get it. Like
some
a
a little longer, really.
Right.
So you can get some downwards, but flat.
Okay.
I think probably that's the difference between corporal and capital punishment, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But yeah.
We used to play knuckles in high school. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
and
vicious.
you'd get those sick bastards that would angle the cards,
right,
so that it would rip the skin off your knuckles when they hit you.
Right. By sick bastards, you mean you?
No, I mean
and your friends.
Well, I guess whoever I was playing with, sure. Yeah.
You only have to learn that once.
Yeah.
You only have to watch it happen to you once.
No, I didn't do it. I had a really good downward spike. Like it was good enough.
No matter how you hit somebody with a deck of cards, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if you pack it tight, you're hitting somebody with a rock, basically, on the hand. Yeah.
No one's not gonna fan them out and go, "Oh,
yeah,
yo, you're kids. It's
Some
maximum.
people did that, though.
It's maximum pain."
Like if it was their buddy, they'd give him a sweet little kiss.
Yeah, and then they never heard the end of it.
Right.
It's like,
and then that guy banged his girlfriend.
Right.
He was like, "Hey, thanks, puss."
This sounds like real world experience. That doesn't sound like you're just thinking of that on the spot. It seems like we drilled into something.
You gotta analyze. All right, let me get in the couch here.
Yeah, no, but I mean, are kids better off for not having knuckles in class now?
I thought you were gonna stop it at the word knuckles. Kids without knuckles, yeah, they're much better.
Yeah, just finger kids.
They can't give you the finger.
Yeah,
you can't bend that thing.
But they can't even point at you. They can only hand you.
Yeah,
they can only show you a hand. No, but are they better? Were we better off? We got the beatings.
I think it was like a study hall.
Right.
It wasn't like an actual class. Like we didn't break that out into history and start
Right.
making each other bleed.
Yeah. I feel like we all went to class at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, you did all your damage at lunch and gym, and good dodgeball, get some of that aggression out.
And depending on what the class was, who the teacher was.
Right.
Like we had this crazy ass friend of ours, Dave, in science class. He took the Bunsen burners and he poured the alcohol on his arms and he lit his arms on fire and he was running around the room. And the science teacher she had to be in her 70s at the time. I thought she was going to drop dead right there.
You got some guy flaming around a room, yeah.
Yeah.
How's Dave now?
Dave's good. Dave's good.
Is he still flaming around?
No, he's not flaming. No.
It's not hand flaming.
No.
Oh man, that's okay.
No, he's probably, and this is weird to say, but out of all the dudes I used to hang out with, he's probably the most normal now.
Probably got it all out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was a bit hyperactive as a kid.
Right.
Shit.
We had
I think I ate something.
we had a science teacher at tunnel vision, so you could get in to class late with a small distraction from somebody on the other side of the room.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Throw something at him or
Yeah.
in his direction,
throw
and
a
he
pencil
looks,
in the side of the
yeah, and then you
Mhm.
just gotta slide in. And you could smoke pot in his class too.
Little misdirection.
Yeah, and you could smoke pot in his class.
That's good.
The
You
window.
didn't know? How do you not smell that?
Those little one-hitters when you were a kid and out the window. He couldn't see it.
Nice.
Maybe his smell was gone too.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what kind of scientist he was, but he wasn't that one.
He wasn't a botanist.
No,
No.
he was probably just going through the motions until he died, as most of our teachers growing up who just couldn't be care. Like, you think when we were kids and we were in school, you think our teachers were as young as they are now? Or we just didn't realize it because we were younger. You know what I mean?
Like how old do you think teachers are now?
In your 20s.
Yeah, I think that's
You
whatever.
think they were?
Whatever. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it just felt like
I don't
that.
think people took time off and then went to get their masters to teach. I think they just went.
Straight through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it feels like we always had older teachers, 60s, 50s. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just young and we just, we're little, so they were old.
No, this lady was old.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you had some, but I feel like I don't remember seeing anybody in their 20s or 30s in school. There might have been, but we just didn't realize it when you were a little kid. High school, you can figure it out, but high school, you could see your teachers were probably in their 40s.
I remember when I was in grammar school, some of the teachers were a little younger.
Right. Oh my.
Because they were always talking about going out. And I remember the two second grade teachers used to hang out. And one was always talking about how the other got melancholy when she had too many drinks.
In elementary school?
Second grade.
So
yeah.
you guys had to go look up melancholy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
First it took
Remember, you go to the library and the fucking dictionary used to be this giant
Yeah.
book, and it would have the cutouts for the letters
Yep.
on the side, and you would jam your finger into M,
All right.
flip it over,
And then try to figure out
and then
how to
figure out
spell.
what's wrong with Miss Goldberg.
Right. And figure out how to spell it first.
This drunken who is teaching us.
Right, but I don't, like I said, I just felt like everybody was old, in a sense. But then you get to, like I said, you get to high school. I had a graphics teacher. He's talking about being in Vietnam, so you can kind of do the math.
Right.
Right, you know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
we're in the 80s, right, this guy's this age or whatever.
And that was like late 60s, early 70s,
Right.
right? Up
And-
to 73, I think.
And you're talking, I was in school, it was 87, so, he was probably, 40?
Right.
Maybe, you know what I mean?
Right.
If he went at the end, or if he went, depending on when he went in, or whatever. But like I said, I just felt like everybody was old. Everybody was somebody's grandma in elementary school, and it could have been my school district.
Yeah.
You never know, because I think if you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be there for life. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to quit. I mean, right?
No, I mean, benefits are good.
Right. I'm sure you get something.
Pay is not awesome, but
Summer off.
summer's off. You could do that summer school blood money thing.
Like that movie?
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't have to do that. It's just
No, but you figure they'd probably have a side gig in the summer,
yeah, something.
working somewhere, whatever, slinging drinks, whatever. But I don't know if it's worth it. Would you want to teach kids?
No.
Not even art?
No, see, this was the cause of one of my breakups, actually. When I had first started working at law firms, I was dating one of the attorneys, and she was like, I was about to go for my master's degree, and she was like, well, why don't you go to teach art? And I was like, I don't want to do that because, well, I didn't have a degree in art, so I could only teach at a college level, which is weird, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you just have to be a showing artist to teach at art schools.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to do that because everybody's over 18. I was like, I'm gonna end up banging one of my students, and she was like, she got all pissed off, and I was like, but why? But I know who I am and what I'm gonna do,
Right.
so I'm deliberately not going down that road because I know it's gonna go badly, right? So I'm taking the high road here.
Right.
But she did not appreciate my honesty, not even a little bit.
As a lawyer, appreciate your honesty.
All right, you're right. Yeah, what was I thinking?
I mean, so yeah, that's a weird thing. Like I taught as what do you call it? What is it called? Adjunct.
Mm-hmm.
When the school we went to
Right.
for art, for design. I remember being in I went into a couple things with other teachers, and I'm just like sitting with them going, was this place this screwed up when I was here? Probably. Like the teachers, they were a mess. Like just listening to them talk, I'm going, these people are a mess.
Bonkers.
Yeah, like
in between classes when they were just
Yeah.
hanging out being themselves.
right, or you go see you go to some kind of meeting or something like that.
Oh, right.
I mean, I was on the bottom scale. You know, I mean, I had an associate's degree and a certificate in music. They paid me like $600 for a class or something. But it was funny though, just because you're there.
For the entire semester.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah?
It was one class was like, yeah. If it was $1,000, I don't even know.
For an entire semester.
Yeah,
For 3 months worth of work.
yeah,
You got 600.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like,
Whoa, you took it all the way up to the elbow on that one.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, my tongue was getting pulled through. It's like, what are you doing? But I don't know why I did it, other than the fact that it was extra money. You know what I mean? It was a day. It was a day gig, so I was teaching music at night, so something to do during the day, or something to do at like 2 to 4 or something. It wasn't a lot of work.
Right.
It was marketing art pre-press. I was doing it every day anyway. So what's the difference if I showed somebody how to do it? They were terrible at it. I went in there like, what's his name? Trying to make a difference.
Okay.
I didn't make any difference.
No.
Well, you remember when we went?
What was it? Stand By Me?
Yeah.
So that's what that's what
I was going in as a
take kids out of the gutter.
yeah. I came with my with the bat. I came with my bat.
The bat.
Like Crazy Joe. I was coming in with the bat. Maybe it was more Michelle Pfeiffer. Higher. What was it in that movie?
Higher Learning.
I don't know. I forget the name of it.
She was so hot back then.
Yeah, but she was like the teacher, and she did the cool teacher.
There was no teachers like that.
No.
We had one hot teacher in middle school. She was like she was an art teacher, but she was like a sub art teacher. She was smoking. I mean, at least in my 13-year-old mind.
Right.
You know, my tastes have changed since then, so
Right.
I might look at her now and be like,
But from 12 to 13, she was awesome.
right.
But
She was in the mental Rolodex for a rendezvous later, a private rendezvous with me, myself, and I.
I wonder if she would appreciate that now. You might.
I would take it as a
I
compliment.
was gonna say it might pump her up. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, wow,
Right,
thanks. You know?
right. Because now she's older.
Right.
Yeah,
We should have been like, I was at a low point in my life. I don't know if anybody liked me.
Yeah.
Well, I liked you.
Yeah.
But you didn't know it.
These kids are dropping batches to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And then she drives it through oncoming traffic.
You
to
need
kill
some more
herself.
glue for the art room? You're going to do some paper mache today?
Oh, God. But but anyway, when I was there, those kids were like, had no even thought of going into the world. They were like, I failed my SATs. I don't know if you can fail an SAT or whatever.
No, you just don't do
Right.
well.
I'm here. I'm going to get my associates, and then I'm going to go.
Did you take yours?
No.
SATs?
No.
I did.
How'd you do?
We went to see Judas Priest the night before, so we were drunk as shit. So hungover the next day, I did terribly.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Right. I went into my last year of high school knowing full well I was going to county college. And so I'm like, I don't need those. They just went on a check to clear.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They let anybody in.
Yeah. How'd you get that kid get into school? He opened the door. That's what
He
kind of
paid.
stuff. Yeah.
He signed the check.
His parents' check cleared. He's in.
Yeah.
But when I was there, these kids were all just like, yeah, I'm going to go off to my 4-year degree after this. I'm like, because I remember being there going, well, I got to get a job after this. You know what I mean? Like, I got to find a job in art.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my kind of art, sure.
All right.
Yeah. That
Right.
was easy. Not painting.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about fine art.
No.
Yeah.
Talking about boobs and
Yeah.
Coke
That's
cans.
my dumb ass. Good job, dude.
Hey, well, I was going to go to school for music. And my mom said, you should have something to be fall back on just in case, something doesn't happen. Okay, I'll go to school for art. She's like, well, all right.
Right. Yeah.
She was thinking accounting,
Yeah, sure.
maybe something practical,
Right.
boat repair, something
Yeah, yeah,
other
yeah.
than art.
Yeah. Well, that's a mom.
Yeah.
That's how they do.
That's right. They want to protect.
They want to make sure you do well.
Right.
And look at you now.
Yeah. Look at me. All this.
All this could be yours.
But there was, that was a fun time growing up. Now it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to teach them. I wouldn't want to
No.
deal with them.
No,
Deal
no,
with
no.
the politics. Deal with the
No,
parents.
now it's crazy.
Yeah.
Now it's crazy.
Right. Parents, kids never at fault, so now you're fighting parents. Kids are bullying each other 24 hours a day.
I don't think they do that too much anymore.
No? You think they curb
No.
that?
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, I guess it depends where you are.
Right.
Right. I think most of the shit that happens on the bus.
Right.
Like you always see those videos of 6 girls beating up one girl.
Right.
It's like,
But the mental abuse, you don't think that goes 24 hours a day? All these kids on social media and
maybe.
I mean,
Maybe. But I think that, there's some consequences to that. It's not like they really let it go.
I guess it's forever now. There's a paper trail.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can't get away with that shit.
Right. If
Right.
we fucked with somebody,
There's
who
nothing
was-
more stupid than putting something in print.
Right.
Yeah.
I think when we fucked with somebody, it was like a part-time job. 8 to 3, no weekends.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You just fuck with them on Monday for a little while, and it's not like to the level now. So, hey, you ever hear of the country China?
No. Tell me.
It's this place over there.
Mm-hmm. Big
Please.
place?
I heard. I don't know, but you know what they do, right? They're a little.
All right, that's where they have the 100 billion people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a big wall.
Huge.
Hey, I don't think it helps. I don't think it keeps anybody out or in.
No, maybe when they built it.
Maybe.
Walls don't do shit anymore.
No, they just fly over them.
No. Or tunnel,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Too high to go over, too low to go under. But you ever see? You've obviously they're communists, right? The commies.
Sure.
I think so, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they do the whole thing where they can because you're not a big government fan, are you? They can
Fan of government or
Yeah.
big government?
well, obviously in China it's big government.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can track you by your face and all that shit, right?
Sure.
And I was watching a thing, and so this is where this rabbit hole started and ended. So there's 100 billion people, and there's this guy. It was an English guy. He was like, it was something I was watching. He's like, I'm just gonna see if the facial recognition stuff can find me as good as they say it can. I'm like, number one, you're English in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you just went from a 100% chance to a 10% chance that they're not going to find you.
Yeah.
They found them, and they weren't like. But the government, you don't know if it's for the show, if the soldiers and stuff were like not supposed to be happy with this little game or whatever. But I think it was all set up anyway, just to show you can't get away with shit here in China.
Yeah.
So, they use the facial stuff, the regular. They use
You're saying it was a government-funded project
to show other
everybody
people.
how big the thumb is.
Yeah.
And keep it on them.
And yeah, that you don't think you can come here and it's lawless. We'll get you.
Right.
But and then they do the point
So
system.
we saw in Russia
Right.
how they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
Don't bring weed here, stupid.
Right. Or don't even just show up looking cross-eyed. We'll get you.
Yeah.
But they do the point system. Like
Yeah.
Social points or
Social
something.
credit score.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so that's the next. Now I'm reading this. I'm like, Jesus, why would you even want to be there? But it's
Well,
like,
you can't get out, right?
right, unless you tunnel. I guess there's got to be a way to get out of China somehow. I guess if they're tracking you, though.
I guess.
I guess once you get to a certain point, once you're out of the people, they could probably track you even easier. They already
I
got
wonder
you.
what their rules are about their people traveling. Because I wonder if they have a lot of defections.
I would think so. No,
I don't know. I don't think so. I think when people grow up in that,
the bubble.
not just the bubble, but the constant, the state,
Right.
that maybe they believe that shit, and they don't leave because they think it's the best thing ever.
That's possible. So, but reading that shit, it's like you're getting told on, essentially. Like the mayor of a village is keeping score for everybody.
Yeah.
And he's turning that in, like pen to paper.
Yeah, you could write anything you want about anyone.
Right.
Right.
That's creepy. But as I keep going and whittling it down, turns out we're using it. Not the big. I don't know about big government yet. I'm sure they are, in certain situations.
Probably. I mean, there's cameras everywhere.
Right. But they're using it at
They're listening to your phone.
the guys who run the garden use it as a square garden.
They use the facial recognition.
Yeah.
What? So if you had been a problem in the past, they don't let you in.
Yeah, because
Like you fucking bought two $50 drinks.
yeah,
And
two
then
doubles. You were
Two
encouraged
doubles.
to buy two doubles.
Yeah.
For
And
a
they were
rock
like,
show?
hey, that's $110.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Right.
The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
And then you threw a shit fit.
Yeah.
Got tossed out of the garden, never to return again.
right.
Or they pull you up on the monitor and
Shame you.
yeah.
But here's what happened because Radio City's owned by the garden.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Right. So this chick is with her kid, a bunch of kids. I think they were a Girl Scout troop.
So this isn't somebody you know.
No, not at all.
Okay.
There's an article I was reading, but it was kind of frightening. So this chick is going into the Radio City musical Christmas show with a Girl Scout troop.
Mhm.
She gets to the gate, and they're like, like to the whole place's dismay. No. Now it's primarily her fault. Not fault, is that the right word? I don't know, but you'll hear. So, turns out she works. I don't know if she's an actual lawyer or if she's working for some slip and fall guy.
Okay.
But she's working on a case where a client is suing the garden for getting hurt.
Oh, I got you.
So they have her profiled.
Sure.
And so she tries to walk into Radio City. They stopped her. They facial recognized her and stopped her.
Nice.
That's pretty. Now it's either the database isn't that big, but as a lawyer, why would you think that it turns off? You know what I mean? Like, why would she think it turns off?
It's a ballsy move,
Right,
First
like-
of all, to sue somebody and then to go there for a show.
That's what I mean. Like, why does she think it would just turn? Well, that's not my. I'm here as a mom with the Girl Scouts. Like, why does she think that that's okay?
Because they're disconnected and they think that it's their job and it's not who they are. But They're not thinking about the other place that you're suing tries to take their money
Right.
because somebody tripped on a piece of carpet
Right.
because they're too drunk to walk correctly or whatever.
And did she, and I would think
Was it one of those Girl Scouts starting this whole shit?
those Girl Scouts are shifty. First with the cookies, then what, right? Slip and fall in front of the garden?
Yeah, like no little girl should be like, "Hey, do you want my cookies?"
Never. Never.
So you're just starting off from a negative.
Right. Yeah, you're digging a hole. You got to get out of first.
Yeah.
Could explain a lot. Could explain a lot. But
That's why she's on the monitor.
that's right. So, but I don't know how, or did she plead ignorant? Like, I didn't, it's not like she doesn't have any idea that Radio City is owned by the Garden.
Yeah, I would think she would know.
Right, because you're trying to get maximum impact.
Right, so you're suing the parent company. You're not suing
Right.
the building,
Right.
right? Madison Square Garden.
And even if you're a law clerk, I guess, right? Is that the helper? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
usually,
not my
yeah,
business,
somebody
so
like that, sure.
whatever. You're a lawyer helper. You're still, you're adjacent to the guy, so you're still in the team. You know what I mean? So that would mean the law team of the Garden or somebody does all the research, right? And has everybody's name and profile somewhere so that none of these people can get into any building that they own.
Right. Well, especially if they think they're full of shit, and the
Right.
lawsuits are frivolous, so
Sure.
they don't want that person on their grounds because they know what their game is.
Right. But so I just don't understand the ability to plead ignorance. Like, that's my job. I'm here for fun. I don't know how you can plead that ignorance. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
It's lawyer shit.
Right. It's terrible.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a real thing,
Right. Or
that's
even
different, right?
even the fact that is it a false is it a misnomer? False to think that your job or whatever shuts off. I mean, I guess if you are doing something like cashier, maybe not. But if you're a ditch digger, I don't know, that your job shuts off at 5 o'clock, like that a career doesn't carry with you 24/7. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a lawyer for the rest of your life.
Right.
Like whatever you do, you're
Right.
a nurse. You're a nurse for the rest of your life. Like,
Well, some places, of course, right? Because if you're a lawyer and you get into some shit somewhere, whatever, you already know the laws, so you're gonna try to manipulate the conversation or the whole thing
right,
to win,
sure,
right? I mean, that's their job.
right.
Same thing if you're a nurse. If you're out somewhere and you see somebody choking on a piece of hamburger,
It's your duty.
you know what to do with it, and you would apply that even though you're outside of your working hours. Sure.
Right. My mom tried to save somebody once.
Yeah.
I was in high school. I was it's
You
only
said tried, so I guess it didn't go well.
I don't think it went well. They died.
Yeah.
But it because I was playing the Meadowlands in the
Okay.
high school jazz band. But I was still
Nice.
playing the Meadowlands.
Yeah, that's right.
At the top, like there's a space to put a band above the seats. Like
Really?
Oh yeah, there's enough room. There's enough walkway to put a band up there. It was a high school thing. You played it in between periods.
Okay.
Like this so jazz band. It's like I don't know if it was a competition or if it was a thing, right? So, and as a kid, you sell some tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the time, it was $10 for a hockey game. I don't know.
Right.
Nobody liked hockey as much as they do now, so it wasn't that expensive. I remember we're playing in between the first period. I don't see them. Don't see my family. Second period, I don't see them. Finally, somewhere mid through the third period, I see them. Right, they come because I guess they sold seats in the spot where you're playing, so the family's close. And I just remember, I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "Well, a dude dropped in front of us, heart attack, whatever." So a bunch of people, including my mom, were trying to give CPR so they can get somebody because you've been to the Meadowlands. It's a long walk from that one parking lot.
Oh yeah.
You go over the bridge.
Yeah.
So he dropped in that tunnel.
Yeah.
And they tried to save him. I don't think they did. The guy died. But that's the thing. She was a nurse 24/7, so you can't turn it off. So the respect and the disrespect, I guess, comes from your life. Hold on. I'm sure nurses aren't disrespected as much as lawyers on their off season, but
Well, they don't tend to do jerk off stuff.
right, they can.
They could. I mean, you'll hear about some lady who's like killing babies in a maternity ward or something like that, or giving
Right.
people the wrong dosages, or
Just being shitty at
yeah,
the
they think
bedside.
that they're Dr. Kevorkian helping people out,
Right.
But it's much more rare than a scumbag lawyer who'll try to take your money any way he can.
So it's like, but going
Can
forward.
you tell how I feel about lawyers?
Yeah. I mean, it could be because of who you are, what you've been through.
Right.
I mean, I use real estate lawyers. They're nice. They're pretty low key. They're
Right.
not there to help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I did use a lawyer. Speaking of which, though, I did the lawyer I used for my building to rent. He was. You can hear the engine. Like, let's say my contract was an Escort. Like a Ford Escort, not an Escort.
Right. I
A
was
Ford
like,
Escort.
what kind of contracts
let-
are you signing?
Let's call it a Toyota Camry,
Mm-hmm.
but this guy's a Ferrari.
Okay.
So you can hear the
Right.
anger boiling under simple questions. Hey, line 3 here says I need $2 million of insurance. Why? Like, you can just hear the anger, but it's anger for your team. So you're like, all right, this guy's on my team.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's on point.
Right.
Yeah. And
So
he's spotting bullshit, so
he's calling it out.
right. Yeah, which is what you're paying for. So
Right. So if somebody knows your profession, like I said, like obviously this person who got pinched by the security, now everybody knows your profession. I guess what I'm trying to get into is that you're if you choose a certain career, profession, musician, whatever, it's 20. Like, kids today think that you can go to work for like 6 hours and then go to the beach. You know what I mean? But then you don't have a career. I think if you have a career, it's with you your entire life. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a computer programmer, maybe you can turn that off, right? You can go to the beach but you're just a widget. You know what I mean? But as you get up into an upper echelon career, you're there. You know what I mean? Like, that's you 24/7. You can't turn it off. You know what I mean? You're known for it. That whole thing.
yeah, well, if I look at the partners at the firms that I've worked for, those guys don't take time off.
Right. They're 24/7.
Yeah, I'm sure I told you this. I hope I'm not repeating myself, but one of the guys was like, "Hey, can you send this stuff by cab to this address?" Right?
Mm.
And it was a catering hall. I was like, "You want me to send it to a catering hall?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my daughter's wedding." I was like, "You're doing work on your fucking daughter's wedding? Like, you can't take that day off? A couple hours?
That's who they are.
Nope. Got to get it done."
Does that make you more or less successful?
I think a lot of times it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of they want to be successful, and a combination of the client says, "I want this done. I don't give a shit if it's your daughter's wedding."
Right.
So they have to do what they have to do.
And do you think some of that becomes success? So you spend your means of success and you start outspending your success. So you have to stay at that level to pay for your means. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't know how to manage money.
Right.
Sure.
So you're never you might not be a step ahead of your
I think that's
lifestyle.
probably pretty rare for lawyers, though.
You think they get it right away? Once they dig out of their law school money? Because I'm sure that's a misnomer, right?
Well, obviously, it depends on the person, right?
Right.
But since they're trained to do deals, they understand money. They have connections to trust and estates people and tax people and
Right.
and financial advisors and all the things that the average person
doesn't do.
can't afford to do.
Right.
Right? You're not going to pay some financial advisor $500 an hour to tell you.
Don't do that. Do this.
Right. If you're only making $80,000 a year, you're like, well,
Right.
I don't have enough money to warrant this.
Right.
Right.
But
You throw your money into a mutual fund and hope for the best, and then
Right. The game's rigged. Anyway.
Sometimes shit tanks.
The game's rigged
And then
anyway.
sometimes, considering it's 2023, I'm predicting a big jump up in the stock market this year, since there's going to be an election the year after.
Yeah, of course.
So if you want to put your money in there now, I'm saying that's a good idea.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. It's totally, I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I'm guessing, like, you've noticed gas prices are starting to go down too, right? So
Got to put on a show.
yeah, got to put the show on because you got to get the asses in the seats.
Because I believe it's probably a huge misnomer that a lawyer, doctor, come out of school and they're, they're making money. Maybe some, right? Maybe some lawyers.
I think
if they're grandfathered into a good company,
if you're
family business
at a big law firm,
right?
I think they start around $200 a year.
And you think that'll pay you? But you had to go to a good school to get to that good firm, right?
You probably dump $200 to get.
So you figure,
right?
Like starting any business, 3 to 5 years to get out of the debt.
Yeah. Plus, you're probably living in Manhattan or somewhere fancy in Brooklyn,
right?
Because you got to be in the mix, and so you're not really making money for a little bit.
Just like any business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the top of the pyramid.
And the turnover is pretty big.
Is it
for first year people?
Yeah,
all the time I see the emails. Today's the last day at blah blah blah. Thank you for the time here and all that shit.
Now, why? Do they jump ship because of the type of work it is?
It could be. It could be that they sucked,
right.
And they were told to
time to go,
pack it and go.
Probably some of it's behind. Well, depending on the.
Sometimes, like one of the main partners will have a problem with the rest of the partners and take his business or her business and go to another firm or start their own, and he'll bring people with him.
Right. Right.
So, or they create a vacuum and then there's like no reason for this person to be there. So they're like, wait, get out of here.
How many of them do you think had my dream is to be a lawyer. I like to argue, whatever it is. I don't
like to argue.
What's the reason to be a lawyer, right? I want to.
I want to do good.
Unless you become. I want to work for the. What is that? The Southern Law Firm.
Public defender.
That seems like a nightmare.
Southern Poverty Law.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
But so you go, okay, I got shot. I went to this huge school. They said, we want you. You interned here. We want you at Bob's Lawyers. We're the best. And he's like, I can't wait. And he gets that job, and he's behind the curtain of the filth you jump into to fight. You know what I mean?
Sees Oz.
And who you're fighting for, and then
right.
it turns them off. Do you think there's a big number of that, or you think they just shrug it off?
I don't know, because I don't know. I don't think a lot of people go into it for the reasons that you're talking about. No, because if they do, they'll. You know, if you're a platform type of a person, I think you'll only apply to law firms that do immigration or
whatever, right.
Pro bono work for death row inmates or something like that.
Right.
They don't want to be a corporate attorney.
Right.
Doing mergers and acquisitions.
Right, but what happens? But if they wave that carrot, that $200K, they wave that carrot at you. Here's here's that money. Where you're like, well, public defender, you're making $50,000, whatever.
I would like to think that people would stick to their guns,
their principles,
right, and not be.
Yeah, but that's a whole other issue.
It all depends on where you are, what you're doing, if you're paying your bills,
right,
all that stuff.
Right. I mean, I've always said to, especially
when you're Saul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've always said to Lisa that if you think you're going to go do a health job for the money, you're never going to make it. Like,
yeah,
I look at a sick person. I don't have the same look. You know what I mean? I don't have the compassion.
You're saying you don't look sick?
No, I don't look at sick people and be like, oh, what can I do to help? I'm like, ooh, good luck with that.
Yeah. Give you a wide berth.
Yeah. Whereas,
Can we throw some plastic on that?
Yeah. Is this thing going to be here the whole time?
Yeah.
Whereas you have, Like, my wife is a nurse. Like, that shit is on. Like, it's there. It's always simmering. Like, I watched it when my mom was dying. You know what I mean? Like, Lisa's Lisa. Then she got in that room and she became a nurse. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
This is where we paid all that money for.
Right.
Get it. It's funny because it's just simmering there. It's just ready to go. And like I said, you don't really got a lot of nurses for bad. I guess if you work for a drug cartel, right, or
you think they don't have nurses?
I think they do.
Yeah, I would.
So that would be, I guess, your definition.
Well, you can't just show up at any hospital, right?
Well, no, I guess.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have your own.
You got to have your own crew.
Your own shit.
So
place,
I guess
right?
technically, you're a nurse for bad but good.
Well, you take your oath, depending on, I guess, what country you're in.
Right.
And so the Hippocratic Oath basically says you got to treat anybody.
That does a doctor.
So
I don't know if nurses have the same thing.
I don't know. I would think there has to be some
There's
sort of
gotta be-
ethical thing like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you can't.
Can't not be ethical and be a
Right. Say
Right.
you're working in a hospital, right? And whoever murdered your best friend's baby gets shot in the leg by the cops and he's in there. You can't just like turn the machines off on the guy,
Right.
right?
Right.
You want to, and you probably should,
But you can't.
but you can't,
I
right?
guess- Right. This is the same as a public defender, right?
Yeah, I guess you could probably recuse yourself from dealing with that person. Say, look, I got a personal involvement with this
Right. I
piece
can't.
of garbage.
Right. But I meant but if you're a nurse and you're working with drug cartel mob, if there's such a thing, you're doing good but bad, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's that whole thing. Like, I'm getting paid to be a nurse, but I'm getting paid to be a nurse off the books. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah, I mean, you should probably still have some sort of inner conflict, right?
I would hope, right?
Did I say that right? It sounded like it felt like my tongue got fat, and
And
the word conflict didn't really come out. It was like,
yeah, we'll fix it in post.
nah.
But so yeah, I guess you got that inner conflict.
Yeah.
That okay,
You know what the problem was? I was thinking about the song, and I started to sing the lyrics in my head. I hear Pete Steele's voice, and I was like, conflict. Not that he sung like that, but
yeah, I don't remember him singing like that.
yeah,
But
my brain went in two different directions, and all of a sudden I got carnivore songs in my head. Maybe that's what it was. I was saying inner conflict and carnivore at the same time.
and it came out
As
as it did.
mush mouth.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, like I said, so the idea that if you're going to be so are you going to be successful if you can turn off your career, or do you have to keep it running? You have to keep that motor running.
Depends on what you consider successful,
Sure.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's not always about cash, right?
You would hope, but for a lot of people it is.
Right.
For this state it is.
Well, I mean,
To survive,
right.
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 you can be happy without having everything. But
I got something to say.
all right.
I think I shit myself.
Yeah, that sounded like it. That's probably how we're gonna wrap this one up. Stinking load of shit in your pants.
We'll be right back, folks.
Oh, we're gonna pause that. Oh, he shit himself. Oh. Just gotta make sure he can hear you.
Like I told I told you that the podcast I was listening to, there was trucks starting up, there was chickens.
But I guess it would
Because
be.
he's doing it out of his house, right? So he
Right.
opens the back door, and you hear the guy next door is mowing his lawn and shit.
Yeah, but that stuff would work great if it was a farmer's podcast.
There you go. Right,
Get to know your audience.
right.
If it's a comedy podcast, that might be a little odd,
It was,
right?
right? Unless, the person in the seat is saying something funny about it, which David Tell did, which
Right.
was good.
He says funny shit about everything.
Yeah, he's great.
The best.
The best.
He's doing his last gig at the big place in the city's closing down. What's the place in Times Square? Caroline's?
His last gig?
Well, they're closing down Caroline's.
Oh, I see.
But so it's his last New Year's or something. I think he does it every
He's
year.
doing a New Year's thing.
He does every year or something, they said.
See, I don't know these things.
Me either. He's great.
He is, but, yeah, I can't get there. Got kids.
Never too late for them to start to learn.
Yeah, I guess I could take them to see David Tell.
Yeah. Well, would you really want to claw through Times Square this weekend?
No.
Have you ever been to that?
No.
Me either.
No. Even when I went to school in the city, like when I lived in the city, no. I had my roommate was NYPD and he had to work it.
Wow. He's a cop?
Yeah. He fucking hated it.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Nothing good can come of that.
If you hook up with some cop groupies.
Okay. But
Yeah.
but you could do that on January 1st.
Well, for him it was a full-time job for him.
Groupies?
Yeah.
Damn.
Cop groupies. Yeah.
Cop groupies?
Yeah.
Coopies?
Yeah. Just
Coppies?
Just pussy hunting was his job. He wasn't really a cop.
Really?
He wasn't really anything. He was a pussy hunter first who happened to become a cop.
Right. So that's that whole thing where your career doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your career's not 24/7.
Well, his was.
Well, it was because
Right.
that was his bait. That was
Right.
his lure.
Right. You just can't put that on a 1040.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a history of the world. Did you try to bullshit? Yes.
Yes.
But I guess that scene looks awful. Even
Yeah.
from afar. You know?
Yeah. One time when I was going to school, but I was living in Jersey, I had to walk across town to Penn Station, and Penn Station is 8 blocks away
I think so, right?
from Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
Like 8 blocks and 1 avenue over.
Right.
And I don't know if anybody doesn't know how big an avenue is in New York. It's pretty far.
Right. If someone says to you,
Yeah.
it's just 2 avenues away, don't believe them. That
Mm.
it's a quick walk.
Right.
If they say it's 2 streets,
It's a solid 10 minutes.
sure.
Yeah.
Those are long.
Yeah. So it's kind of out of the way, but the crowd was so big that it had pushed down to that point.
Right. That's the Garden, isn't it?
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't see the ball from there. You can't, or the apple, or whatever it is. You can't see the
Well, you can see
performers.
balls, absolutely.
You
There's
can-
plenty of balls to look at. Only one big apple.
Yeah. Well, if you're by Penn Station, you can see a lot of stuff you
Yeah.
probably don't want to see.
Right.
I remember before they revamped it how bad it was.
Oh, yeah.
Once I stepped in human shit outside,
Mm-hmm.
it was a big yellow dump. It was terrible.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody had definitely not had a well-rounded diet. That's for sure.
Remember when you missed the train? You could
You had to sit.
or sleep.
Yeah.
Or if you had money, right?
You
I
had to
think.
take shifts.
Well, if you had money, you could drink, right? The bar was open. That one bar was open, right? Was McSorley's? Was that always open?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I thought that place was open all the time because it was underground. There was no rules. It was lawless.
Oh, the one that's way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought you could drink there.
Yeah, I don't think I even ventured down there
That's
back in those days.
Yeah, that's the deep.
Yeah.
That's deep waters of the,
Yeah.
of the city.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like, how is that even enjoyable? Okay, I'm going to take the train, get outside the Garden, and just stand in a crowd. I
In
can't.
the cold.
And yeah. It's
Like
not like these
people
global warming
wear-
days. Yeah.
They'll have, well, they used to do hot water bottles. I'm sure they have something more
Right.
sophisticated now.
They have those
They have
jackets.
those pouches that you can
Yep.
punch.
And you have the jackets that you charge.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Tesla jacket?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's full of. You look like you're in a microwave or like a toaster oven. The
Okay.
thing just heats up.
Nice.
So, but it can't last all night. I'm sure it doesn't last
No.
12 hours because those people are there all day
Yeah, they start early.
and they're pissing in bags or pissing on each
Right,
other.
right.
That's got to be awful.
If they just made everything silent, you could just hear the
Yeah. Sound like a nice waterfall?
fill up. I wouldn't do it.
Never.
No. And Caroline's is like right in the middle of all that.
Right. So you would have to.
Unless he does he probably does like 2 shows.
So you still have to fight through that crowd to get to
Yeah.
over where that is.
Yeah.
But that's closing. So I mean, I hope he's gonna go somewhere else.
I'm guessing the cops usually when they have parades and stuff like that, they keep the side streets open.
Some paths to get through.
Right, they'll put horses. Like they'll let that chunk fill up, then they'll put horses, and then on the other side of the street they'll put another set of horses, and then that
So
that block fills up. They don't let you just take over the streets
right.
because then it becomes too hard for them to do crowd control. What if some maniac pulled out a knife and was fucking
Right.
poking people?
Or if there's an ambulance that had to get across town.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
So it smells like piss and horse shit. That's getting better.
Yeah. No, not those kind of horses. I mean the blue wooden horses. The police line.
That's like all of a sudden it's the Wild West for corralling people?
They do, in Manhattan, they do the horses, though.
Well, I'm sure.
Police on horseback, sure.
It's probably...
They do that in Bourbon Street.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah.
On Ash Wednesday. Or
Yeah.
whatever that is.
I was
right?
walking
Fat
through
Tuesday.
there, and you don't hear them walking up on you because it's all loud and just fucking knocked. I was like ready to turn around and punch somebody, and some big horse's ass just knocked me over.
Yeah. And they're strong, so
Yeah, they wouldn't.
they wouldn't even feel you.
Right, unless you're Mongo.
Yeah.
You got no chance against
right.
the horse.
That's right. That horse said goodnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. So that's going to be... They'll probably start filling up tonight, right? Or tomorrow night, whatever. I don't even know what day it is. So, but they're going to start filling up.
Yeah, what is it? It's 30th.
30th,
So
I think.
30th.
Yeah. And they're
Tomorrow.
and they're just going to stand there.
Yeah, but it's a lot of people that come from like out of state, right?
They're idiots.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, they want to see New York, so they're idiots.
Right. Well, no, I don't mind that. You got, I mean, right. We take it for granted, right? It's
Right.
We got the septic tank right here.
Right.
Yeah. It's like if you were the only person on your block with a well, everybody would want to see the well. Oh, whoa, what's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have that septic tank and all the shit that's floating around in it.
Yeah, yeah.
We take it for granted.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It wouldn't be my place to go to on New Year's Eve.
No.
Well, first of all, it's cold. Like whenever, and the opposite works too. Like when I had people say, "Oh, let's go to the Bahamas in July," I'm like, "It's already fucking hot. Why do I want to go to an island?
Right.
I could just hang in my backyard."
Right. There's no point.
Right.
Right.
Like, let's go in February. I'll
Sure.
totally go then. But
Right.
yeah, so the same works. Like I'm not going on a Alaskan cruise in December.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess when you figure you have a city like Manhattan, if you don't go for Christmas in the winter, then if you go for the summer, there's something. There's always something. I mean, there's something to see that you've never seen before.
Right.
Even if it's the Intrepid.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's not a lot of places that just have an aircraft carrier for you to walk around. Or the other culture, you know,
Right.
MoMA and all that shit. You go to L.A., there's not that. It's not the same, right?
It's more spread out.
Right. But in most cities, there's not that. There's not that.
Well,
pulse.
there's really only like 2 cities in this country, right?
Right.
Chicago and L.A.
Right.
And the rest of them are suburbs all smashed together,
Sure.
pretty much.
Right.
I mean, they all have a little downtown,
Right.
but
Yeah.
L.A.'s downtown is like Newark's downtown,
Right.
right?
And Newark's downtown is.
It's not big.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's same with Toronto. When I was in Toronto, Toronto's Newark. Not in terms of.
Size-wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Population-wise. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little shifty in the sense
Right.
that there's shoot-up rooms,
Okay.
medical shoot-up rooms.
Right.
You got some bums.
But that's not shifty if it's state-sponsored as much, right?
No, but they kick you out eventually.
Well,
so the town gets
yeah,
shifty.
you can't live there.
And it shuts down incredibly early. 8 o'clock. Like if there happened to be a Toronto baseball game on that Saturday. I was there on over a weekend. So Thursday, Wednesday, we did some stuff. Like there's a bar. There was a place across the street from our hotel. It was like a warehouse, but it had all these little.
Wait, is this the high school jazz band? You're
No,
doing
no.
tours?
Yeah,
International touring?
No, this was something for Lisa's, but you know what she does.
Okay.
So it was a convention or something she was speaking at. So we're in the hotel, nice hotel, whatever. She gets done with all her events. It's like 7 o'clock. We're like, well, right next door is this amazing looking place. It's a warehouse that's all little restaurants and bars. You walk through it. It's almost like going, remember, you go to Route 1 flea market?
Yeah.
But it's all nice food, that's right. Took a step in, we each got a drink, figured out something to eat because there was like 90 places to eat. Last call, 8 o'clock.
Oof.
How does a city live like that? And it was all like that.
I mean, if you get out of work at 5,
Yeah.
you gotta like go right to the restaurant,
Right.
and then how they all must be jam packed.
Sure, and our hotel bar was open till 12, whatever. But it's like, then you went down towards the water. I forget what lake that is. It's one of the Great Lakes off of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Was that? I don't know.
We got me.
One of them. But, and there was places there, but once again, wraps up 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'm like, this town blows. And then there was a baseball game, so the place was open till like 11. Some places were open till 11.
Okay, so they get special treatment.
Yes, because they
Right.
know there's more people hanging around.
Sure.
But that's not a city.
No, that's kind of lame.
That's like rural. You might as well go to, some little town. That's what that was for me. So I don't know how they get city except for population. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like New York, right? So that's why people come here in droves, especially now. Because they want to see plays and they want to see trees and they want to see,
Yeah, I get all that. I just don't get the standing outside thing.
Yeah, I don't understand why you want your trip to New York to culminate.
I
in
don't even
standing
understand visiting Times Square.
outside. No. Right.
I mean, I guess if I think about it, if somebody said to me, "Oh, you go to whatever, let's say New Orleans, you go to Bourbon Street,"
Right.
right?
Right.
But it's not.
You're going there for.
It's not like that though.
Right. You're going to Bourbon Street there's a purpose. It's installed for,
There's music and booze.
Right. And it starts early, goes late.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Right.
Don't go a block over. A block and a half.
Depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a little leeway.
It gets a little dicey.
It's don't want to get separated from the pack.
You get right to the edge of the the Mariana Trench we talked about?
Yes.
And then you drop off and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But as long as you can tread water to the line,
Right.
you're fine. So, but that's purpose, right? Downtown Los Angeles is not purpose. Like, everything's spread out. I lived in Hollywood. Everything was spread out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I lived a half a block from the Walk of Fame, right? You walk down and there's the Walk of Fame. There's some bodegas and restaurants, a couple bars, but it's not like...
The Fredericks of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. That was a little bit of a walk, but yeah, it was there.
Yeah.
Scientology was there. That was nice.
Yeah.
That was
It was
nice.
nice.
It's nice place.
It's a good visit.
They used to make it snow.
What?
At Christmas.
They had
I-
snow machines
Yeah,
out there?
yeah.
Nice.
It was kind of funny considering Scientology has nothing to do with Christ and all that, but they were snowing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
They control the weather.
Yeah.
They're out there.
that's a whole other issue. That'll be another topic.
Yeah.
But
But I guess, yeah, I don't know. When I'm thinking about Times Square, like, people want to see the lights, right?
right,
You've seen it in movies, so I guess it's kind of nostalgic.
I guess right.
Like, you always see that there's always somebody running through that section of Times Square where it's kind of like 5 points, right?
Yep.
And you see the
Cup of
billboard that
noodles.
changes, and you see
Yeah.
the fucking wraparound NASDAQ thing and
Yeah,
whatever. But the restaurants there are typically shit.
right. They're chains.
It's all chains, right? I mean, there's a couple good things. There was a good barbecue joint over there. There's some family style Italian over there. And then there's a couple decent Irish bars over there.
Right.
And Caroline's is not a chain. So, that was kind of cool. But,
Right.
I mean, but those places aren't, like, in what you consider Times Square.
No,
It's like,
off.
it's just a block that way, a block that way, a block that way. And if you
Right.
didn't really know where they were, you wouldn't find them anyway.
Exactly. You'd have to be told.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now I'm thinking about train wreck fries. Dude,
Where was that?
at this barbecue place. What was it called? I don't even remember. But I worked around the corner. So it was, they put the fries on a skillet, right? And they melted cheese with ranch dressing, scallions, and bacon bits. Boom.
Train wreck. Fries.
Train wreck fries. You get that with a big old fall off the porch iced tea, which is like a Jack Daniels based thing with lemonade, and
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
what are you gonna?
that would be my Friday lunch.
It's perfect.
And I go back to work all
Boozed up and stuffed.
stuffed. Yeah, like,
Stuffed.
don't give me anything.
Oh,
I'm going
man.
to bed.
But just like But I mean, little places can't survive over there, right? 50 grand a month, 40 grand. I'm sure the rent is astronomical.
I would think. I don't know.
I mean, BB King's had to close up shop, and that wasn't in Times Square,
Right.
right? Because it was too much money. There was a place we
It
used
could also be crappy management.
yeah, there was a place we used to go to Bond 45. I think it's on like 44 now.
Yep.
That place was great, but
Yeah.
they moved. But they're still there. But they're
Right.
But that place was awesome. That was an
Yeah, that's
awesome
good.
Italian place.
Yeah.
But that's not well known. You know what I mean? We stumbled
I mean,
across
you
it.
knew it if you worked in the area.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's one of those places. But again, that's one of those places that's there but not there.
Right.
Right.
Like we used to get the halal guy. Like I turned lease on that because we were in the city.
Meat on a stick.
Tray like $5 for
Okay.
pigeon, goat, whatever they give you.
Whatever it is,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Sewer
It's
rat.
so good, right?
Yeah.
But it's $5. When you're in Manhattan, $5 for lunch is awesome, right? And you can walk down to, eat it over looking John Lennon's, circle or whatever. It's not that far of a walk
Okay.
to the park. But yeah, so I mean,
Strawberry Fields.
yeah, right. That's right. That's not that far of a walk from. It's a walk,
Yeah.
but it's not.
I don't even know where it is.
We stumbled across it.
I don't really know too much about Central Park now that I think about it.
Yeah, there was only that restaurant I remember.
Yeah, there's like
Tavern on the Green.
there's that. There's Strawberry Field. They do the center stage thing.
Right.
There's a zoo, I believe.
There is. Golf course? No.
I don't think
Maybe.
so. No, I don't think so.
Garth Brooks.
Is he playing golf there?
I think he just hangs out there. I don't know. He had that big show. I'm sure.
There's all those handsome cabs out there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah.
It's poor bastards. It's poor horses.
Yeah, that's just fucking terrible shit.
Yeah. I guess what's the alternative? The human.
But as far as the placement of things
right.
in the park, I'm like
No
I don't
idea.
know. I've only heard.
You go in one
Oh,
side.
there's an ice skating rink, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and then but
You
but
go-
other than that, like if you told me where's Strawberry Fields, I'd be like,
Yeah, I don't know where
I
it
don't
is.
know, dude.
We found it,
yeah.
but it was an accident.
I know how to drive through the park to get to the Guggenheim.
Right. Get from one side, pop out the other.
Right.
In the park.
Yeah.
And there's those really probably expensive, either those consulates or whatever they are along that back side of the park there.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm sure that's big bucks.
Yeah. Well, they got that prime real estate. You're right on the park.
Right. I'm
Park
sure.
views are no joke.
I can't imagine what that goes for. Millions and millions of dollars.
They got it.
Of course. There's plenty of people with
It's
lot.
a consulate. They're
You go
living off their people's money.
I bet
so.
you wander in that little couple block area. The probably the amount of people worth money is just it's unfathomable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you go down to the local park here, you can tell what people are worth. You probably go over there and you're like,
On 57th Street, we used to. So we're on the train, on the subway, and we met these folks from Sweden, right? And one of the dudes was a Swedish chef.
like
Surprise,
from the
surprise.
Muppets.
Yes. Yeah, he had the
Did he
hat
talk
and
like that and everything?
His name was Johan.
It's getting better.
Yeah. Cool guy.
Central Casting.
So he worked at this restaurant on 57th Street, and most of the places on 57th Street, they kind of look like. They don't look like restaurant fronts, right? It's not like glass and with the
Sure.
door you pull open. It looks
Right.
like a doorway to a house,
Right.
right? And this one you actually used to go down
Go
off
in,
the street,
go up and down, or go in from the basement.
in and down.
Okay.
And then there was a little bar there, and they had some kind of Swedish thing where it was like their version of sangria, but it was like a lot sweeter. And they
Sweet Swedish.
yeah, and then they'd seat you, and you go into the building. So when you go into the restaurant itself, it's the center of the building, and it goes all the way to the roof of the building. So like 8 stories or something like that. So
Okay.
that it seems like there's no ceiling.
Right.
There's a gigantic waterfall down the side. The place was ridiculous, right? And we just mentioned that we knew Johan, and they were like, oh, so they were giving us like a tasting menu of all kinds of crazy stuff. The guy
Wow.
was pairing wines for us, and they brought us out desserts. Shit was crazy. It still cost me like $200 a person, and that was 20 years ago.
Right. So it's probably 5 now.
Right, and half the stuff was not on the bill.
Wow.
So but everything was fucking awesome, man.
But that's unassuming, right? You would never know unless you know.
Right, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Right, because usually those places, they have like a little plaque outside that say what it is. There's no,
Right.
you know, McDonald's arches or any shit.
There's
like
no
that.
neon lights.
Right, if you don't know, you don't know.
Right. You don't just show up like, hey.
I did go to one Japanese place where there was nothing. Like if you didn't know, you did not know, and the only people in there were Japanese and my white ass. That was it. That was good.
You didn't start getting drunk saying who won the war.
We kicked all your asses.
Say thank you that you're still here. You didn't give him that, did you?
No.
Drinking up sake.
Yeah. Is that your T-shirt or is it a permanent tattoo? What's going on there?
Yeah, right. But there's one Japanese joint like that I know of locally. Like it was unassuming. There was a door, and all of a sudden you're in a Japanese restaurant. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's for ambiance. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
the city is
be
this
cool,
the thing,
right? Yeah.
You wonder,
LA
like,
has a lot of places like that, right? Like if you don't know where they are, you don't.
where you don't know.
Right.
Right.
You got to be in to know.
Right. It's a weird thing that you don't need, like, especially in Manhattan, even around here, you don't need a chain restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, you might need a chain restaurant in nowhere, Iowa.
Oh, to survive?
Yeah, like, oh, I need pizza. I got to go to a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
You've got to get a chain pizza in New Jersey, New York. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're really dumb. You know what I mean?
They're
like,
out there, dude.
That's real Italian. Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
It's,
they're out there.
Right. But so, all right, so we have all that in Manhattan. So, but
like they shouldn't even sell frozen pizzas in our stores.
No.
Right?
It should be a crime.
Yeah. Fuck your Mama Celeste.
Or you should be judged highly by the guy charging you, ringing you up at the end. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
A little light this week, times are tough. Right.
Yeah.
I have a problem with people who buy, if you have money, you should buy a whole pizza. I don't know why you should buy a slice. Like, if you're going home, you should buy a pizza. Being a former pizzeria owner.
You mean some people just pick up, like, give me 2 slices
Yeah,
to go?
I find that odd. Like, why wouldn't you want a fresh pizza?
But they're getting 2 pieces of the fresh pizza.
Well, maybe not if it's on the counter. Sometimes it's been sitting there. As a former pizzeria owner, I can tell you it's not always the freshest. But if you have no money, I get it. But if you have a guy who you're not broadcasting, I have money. Not only talking about you're rich or whatever, you're wealthy. But you're a guy of
But
means.
if you're not going to eat the whole pie, then what's the point of buying the whole pie?
You're helping the small business guy. He's happy. And you're getting fresh pizza. I think the experience of fresh pizza is a hell of a lot better than eating stale pizza. I mean, in Manhattan, people, I'm sure they buy slices all the time, right?
There's a lot of turnover, right? So it doesn't get old.
Yeah. But
not all the time, but yeah.
Most time,
yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you get there like towards the end of lunch hour rush, you know that's got to be fresh pizza because that stuff's flying out of there.
Right. You don't go into a pizza place at 11. Maybe
you might get the first pizza of the day.
Right. Probably around 2:00 I would just go wandering in.
But when you start talking about like 3:30 or something, that stuff's been sitting there since like 1 in the afternoon.
Right. But if
a bunch of flies and they keep all the doors open, so there's bus exhaust flying around in there.
It's toxic.
I never understood people eating out on the sidewalk in Manhattan.
Oh, that's rough.
Fucking gross, man.
Right. And now even worse since the pandemic.
Why is that?
You want to sit out in one of those outside things where all the homeless people are setting up shop at the end of it?
Like, you're supposed to give away your pizza to them. And you starve for their benefit.
Right. I guess that's so nice of you.
No, I shouldn't say that. That's fucked up.
I get it. Too late.
Too late. Can't bring that one back.
You know, but there's a thing, like, it's, like, I mean, I don't know last time you were downtown. You're downtown all the time, probably.
Not really.
No?
I don't hang out there. I only pick up my kids and go.
I thought maybe you cut through, but there's a lot of, like, what equates to looking like tree houses are built, or forts, you know what I mean, for the restaurants and all outdoor seating. But there's homeless guys that are setting up shop right outside. So you got this weird-looking thing. You got the homeless guy and another weird-looking shack.
They try to guilt you.
It's so...
Into giving you the food and the money.
Right. They need to get a bulldozer and just clear out them sidewalks.
That
Not
guy...
so much the homeless people.
What's that guy's name? That fucking last mayor.
Adams?
No, the one before him. The guy that fucked it all up. De Blasio.
De Blasio, right.
What a douche.
Right.
What a douche.
Right. There was a...
Way to turn it back the clock 25 years,
Sure.
30 years.
There's no charm. If people think there's charm in the 80s city, it's not charming. It's disgusting.
No.
I mean, it's got. I mean, I'm not saying you bury the homeless with the wood, but you clear the.
You just hit them with the wood,
Well, I
so
figure
they move on.
You'd think they would get the point as a bulldozer on the sidewalk is slowly pushing them tree houses out of there. You would hope they pick up on it. They might not, but
Right.
it's just it's disgusting. It's you know what I mean. And then you got people walking in the street because they can't walk on the sidewalk. You know, it's just a total mess. We leave off. We were shuffling homeless people with bulldozers because De Blasio ruined it.
Yeah, we were.
How do you get out of that?
I think there was some hitting them with wood, and
Right. They would get the point once we started bulldozing them.
and then the bulldozing,
Right.
and yeah.
Do you think the city will ever come back to being the city of it's not comfort because the city was never comfortable, but will it be more manageable? Will the dirt, crime, homeless, lack of care for one another ever be more manageable? I feel like the kitschiness is gone. A lot of the kitschiness is gone, right? St. Mark's is gone. You know, like even the guy that sold hubcaps on like on the way out to the tunnel, like that stuff's all gone.
Yeah, a lot of that old school New York rawness is gone.
And that'll never come back. Not as long as until
No, I mean, even if you go into the other boroughs,
right.
like areas that used to be really sketchy in Brooklyn are now not.
Right.
You know,
Red Hook.
yeah, even like Fort Greene and places that were a little further out that somebody like me really stood out in.
Right.
You know,
Gotta get to the beach more.
not. Yeah, it's not really like that anymore. Now
Right.
it's all. I remember as I left the city in like 2006, and around that time, that's when, like, they were starting to move warehouse parties out into places like Bushwick and shit like that, which used to be like you don't fucking go there.
Right.
Right. You know. So. You know, it's changing. You know what's always really weird? And if you get an area that's like a little sketch, there's always like a bunch of Hasidics living in the neighborhood.
It's affordable.
I guess it just seems really weird. Like, I
Right.
understand affordable.
What level are you talking about? Like
Well,
hundreds or teens?
I don't know. I mean,
Right.
they're easy to spot on a regular basis.
Sure.
But in a predominantly black neighborhood,
Right.
it's way more so.
Right.
Right?
Would it be easy?
And one that has a reputation for being a little bit crime-ridden.
Would they stand out in the Old West?
In the Old West? No, not so much in the Old West.
The hats, right? The hats would kind of blend in. Everybody wore a suit back then too. Nobody was
right.
Nobody's jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah, there was a lot of pocket watch in the
Yeah.
vest sort of thing.
Yeah, so everybody looked kind
Yeah.
of the same, so they wouldn't stand out as much. I get it
Yeah.
now, right? But
Yeah.
but maybe the
Way to drag me out of that fucking dive.
I knew it wasn't gonna get any better.
No, I'm just saying it's just something that I've noticed. That's all.
Right.
I mean, I understand the lower rents or
The
whatever,
affordable renting,
but I
right.
would think if you're running a business that in a crime-ridden place is probably not the best choice.
Sure.
But I don't know. Maybe they're playing a long game, thinking that buying real estate there is gonna one day.
Right. I'll put up with the pain now.
Right.
Right. Which,
Right.
because the city's never going to go back to that charm, that weirdness. It's not. I mean, because everything's going to have to be higher priced, right? Everything's going to have to be. Like some stores look like they could scrape by because the rent was affordable, right? It was grandfathered in. It was rent controlled. Once you lose that,
Well, if you're talking about a place like
you see, go down the village.
Tiffany's or something like that, they
Right.
don't have to worry about because they have insurance, right?
That's the same building, right?
They
For-
don't care
Right.
because the insurance company is going to pass down the rates to mom and pop places and put them out of business, right?
But you know what I mean, like the little stores, like almost like those little head shops in the village.
It's weird because usually what happens when you get like an upsurge of some sort of creative vibe, right?
Right.
It's usually based around shitty environments.
Sure.
And I don't mean just poor or
No.
or violent. I mean just like there's some kind of
Run down a little.
social unrest that
Right.
causes this whatever underground thing to happen.
This movement.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So as long as you continue to have people come into Manhattan to do that, then it'll always sort of have that. But the problem is now that there's really no cheap places in Manhattan. It used to be like
Right.
you could move into, well, in the 70s, you moved into Soho, right? Because it was all warehouses.
Right.
Now it's all glitz and glamour, and you can't touch it,
Sure.
right? Then it was Lower East Side, but now it's expensive,
Sure.
you know. And now maybe Alphabet Cities probably is
Probably the next one, right?
right, or you have to go way uptown.
Here in Harlem, whatever. Yeah, but also those movements probably are a lot slower because everybody's on the internet. They move on the internet now. It doesn't have to be face to face, right? You don't have to have a meeting per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess also when you're talking about what is the city going to come back, are you talking about Manhattan or are you talking about the boroughs?
No.
Because
Well,
a lot of the stuff will push into the outer boroughs too, because that will
Right.
become the more affordable, you know,
Maybe. Right.
more rough around the edges stuff.
Maybe. I just meant the charm. There's those little parts of the city that had that kind of charm. A little dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was dangerous, I guess, if you
The
were.
charm of getting knifed
Right.
in Tompkins Square.
Yeah. But you could also buy drugs, you know.
Yeah.
But now drugs are legal. Everybody's a drug addict now, so it's, you know, it's not as fun.
Here's your drugs.
Right.
There's your dumpster.
Right. Have at it.
Shoot up, not out.
Right.
Enjoy.
Not at just the things that if you were sketchy, you would be in trouble. But there was enough excitement, danger that people were. So like going to a haunted house. Like for the most part, you won't get hurt. Right.
You're
right.
waiting for the jump, huh?
You'll get your jump scare, but
Right.
you won't get hurt unless
Where
you're
the
looking
fuck
to get
did
hurt.
that word come from?
Jump scare?
Yeah.
I guess from people who jump up after they get scared.
No, but I mean, I never heard of it until my kids started watching YouTube.
Right. Because that's what somebody made it up, and then they all latch onto it.
Yeah.
Then they used it as a definition to describe, like, oh, it's not gore, it's jump scares. You know what I
Right,
mean?
it was
It's not
just-
suspense anymore. It's suspense. This is suspenseful. But what happens when a guy comes out of the corner and goes, boo, boogity, boogity? What is that? Where did that come? So they came up with a name for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this new thing that I see on YouTube is icebergs. Everything's an iceberg. And it explains, I guess, how the eroding. It doesn't make any sense because you would think it would be a sinkhole. You know what I mean? How they're on the top. These people or this thing was important on the top and then it fell apart. You know what I mean? That's a sinkhole, not an iceberg. Iceberg usually has more support underneath it, doesn't it?
Yeah, aren't they usually bigger underneath the water than they are above?
Right. So
Right? It's basically a floating landmass.
right.
Right, it's just ice.
So the bottom is always bigger than the top.
Right.
You would think that this horseshit that they
Because
say
if it
online-
was the other way around, it would topple over, wouldn't it?
Right.
I mean,
Right,
doesn't
or
make any
flip.
fucking sense.
would
Yeah,
just,
that's what I'm
would
saying.
just keep flipping.
Yeah.
Like so, even if the top got bigger, it would flip over.
Right.
So it would never.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they call it an iceberg, but it's all over YouTube. I would think it's a sinkhole. So something seems okay on the surface, but it's eroding at the bottom until it finally collapses.
I remember this kid told me one day that that a bisexual is not someone who has sex with both men and women. That it was just somebody who liked hanging out with both men and women. I was like, no.
Wow.
And he was like,
That's-
no. Well, that's what it means for us now. And he was like 13 or something.
No.
You know. And I was like, no, you can't. Your head's in your ass.
Yeah, get a
You
new
got to get out of
dictionary.
YouTube world.
Yeah, get a new dictionary because you're wrong.
Right. You're going to start saying, oh, you're fucking Joey's a bisexual, and everybody's going to get a certain impression of what that person is, and you're
Right.
thinking he's just hanging out with boys and girls.
No.
No. You need to get it straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you start some real shit.
indirectly starting some new shit.
Yeah, and Joey's gonna punch you in the face.
Right, you're gonna want to, yeah, why Joey the
Right.
bisexual just
Or
beat you
tell
up.
everybody I'm a fucking bisexual. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I heard that. I was like, no,
You're right.
You can't do that.
But
Everybody's convinced that they could just change language however they want.
Oh, yeah.
They could just, it's my world now. I'm gonna make it how I want. No, stupid.
No.
Sorry.
Exactly. There's a reason we're surviving.
Right. There's a reason why we have agreed upon language.
Right.
So that everybody knows what the hell you're talking about. Right. You can't
exactly.
just make shit up as you go along.
Right.
Right. The
I
iceberg.
Yeah, the iceberg.
Yeah.
Guess they couldn't keep saying sinkhole. The sinkhole, that is this.
Yeah.
So they say it's an iceberg, but yet it's just because. Is it just because they're showing they're on the surface as high, but on the bottom they're like, I know they're mean. I don't know. Makes no sense.
I don't know.
But we should probably call this one. I think we got a lot of material.
It's time. You gotta get out of here.
So.
All right. Peace.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Damn.